Okay, a couple of topics on the relays. Number one, the weather was +7 degrees or 44 Fahrenheit at start time last night. I mean, who runs in shorts and singlets at 7 degrees Celsius?
Hello, Scotland. Here we go. Now,
Let's
see,
do what?
1986, it was the year of the Commonwealth Games in Edinburgh. But the Meadowbank track was getting refurbished, done up. So we had the East Districts Championships at a place called Livingston, and it was -6 wind, 6 meters per second wind. There was hailstoning, and a guy called Elliot Bunny, don't know if you remember Elliot Bunny, ran 10.6 into a -6 wind the first week of May.
He ran like hail.
Yeah. And then when it came to the Commonwealth Games in August, he ran 10.4 in a +2.
Yeah.
So he went downhill, but 10.6 into a -6 was phenomenal.
Yeah.
But you're right, Jimson, because we did say after that, I'm never doing this again. What? Oh, no, we're not doing this again.
It's just
So
ridiculous.
just refused.
I'm glad they let them have their warm-ups and their winter parkas on the waiting area. I saw that was a good thing. So anyway, I hope in 2 years from now they'll make better decisions on where to host it.
They were showing it later in the day here. So I watched some on Sunday, and then I haven't been on the internet. I'm charged of getting this whole meet together this next week, and so I'm bartering with coaches to get me their entry stuff. Did Netherlands get DQ'd for out of the zone or for hitting the runner? Because when they kept showing it, it looked like that runner was leaning out, and she was clearly in her lane when Visser went by. It looked like if she hit her, that was the other girl's fault. What happened on that one?
No, there was no DQ.
So no DQ. I didn't know if they didn't get it in the zone, or I mean, they stunk it up. And Otto Bolden's saying, "Oh well, no, Visser just slowed down." Well, she probably did, but that girl got out about 3 days early. I don't know. That anchor got out early that I thought. Anybody else think that? Or
Oh, yeah, she definitely went too soon. We were watching it live. My wife there just popped in and popped out. Is an ex-sprinter as well. As soon as she even took off, my wife went, she's got too early without having to watch replay. She just went, as you say, she just went, I don't know why. Because they had the tape on the track. You see them putting the tapes out.
Yeah.
Now, Malcolm. Now.
Otto Bolton is sitting there saying, "Oh, she didn't get out early. Visser just slowed down, didn't run through the zone." Well, I don't know how he did that.
Anyway, okay, next topic. The
I
2x400. 2x400. Who invented that?
You're talking about the mixed 4x4?
Yeah, the mixed, no, actually the mixed 2x400. You got two people, male, female, and you each run a lap, 1 minute break, run a lap. I mean, who?
Oh, less than a minute, yeah.
Less than a minute. I mean,
it's a 1,500 meter training session.
Oh, yeah,
I saw just the mixed relay.
Well, the mixed relay I can understand. The mixed relay it brings two and two.
I thought that's what you meant.
No. That one I can live with, and that one's actually in the Olympics, believe it or not. Unfortunately, I think they're both on the same day. Heats and finals on the same day on day one for Tokyo. So that's going to be a bit bizarre if you have other events down the road. But the 2x400, I mean, that must be an 800 meter coach saying, let's do 2 400s, 1 minute break.
No, if you looked at it, the first 400, both men and female, jogged. They absolutely jogged because they knew they wouldn't have anything left for the second run. Just didn't work at all.
Yeah.
But I do like the 4x200.
Yeah.
I don't know why I don't do that more often. I like the 4x2.
Okay, that's also on my list here already.
Oh, sorry.
I don't like the 4x2 personally for a couple reasons. In Texas, which is sprint dominant, years and years ago, when they didn't put in the pole vault for the women, they had the guys pole vaulting. They added the 4x2 for the girls, like that, and they double the relay points. Like that's a comparison, single event here, vaulters, double relay points, sprinters. Then after several of us, including me, worked for years to try to get it in, we had success with vaulters trying to get it in the public school state, even though I'm not in that. They finally, the guys, sprint coaches figured out really quickly, hey, when they bring it up, we just all vote for it, because once they add the girls pole vault, they have to add the boys 4x2. So we have a 4x1, a 4x2, a 4x4, all the sprints, horizontal jumps. And what we did in our private school 25 years ago or longer, we put in a 4x8. So we have a 4x8, a 4x1, and a 4x4. The other thing I don't like about the 4x2 is, since we don't run it as much, I don't care about it. It's trickier handoffs. It's like, and what we do, I don't know, some people think we're crazy, but it's been successful, and it doesn't matter for our conference. We've gone right to right. We have the runner finish on the straightaway, right hand handing the right, the guys on the inside. Then he doesn't have to change batons. Either you don't have to run with it left hand, or you don't have to switch it. But it's just, I hate it. And so many times the people running the meets don't know where the zones are. They tell them the wrong zones. You get DQs right and left. I don't know. But I did like the Ecuadorian women, after he said, oh, they got to run 3 of them, have to run 15 minutes later. They ran well and they got third. So I thought that was cool.
You were saying about the changeover there, Richard. The reason we do it left to right is because it's the same as a 4x200 meters indoors. We've got the 200 meter indoor track. So that's the way to do it, because you do the same in the 4x4. And you're saying about double points in the relay. All our league matches, whether it's schools or clubs here in Great Britain, is double points for the relay. Even a 4x1 and 4x4, at the end of the track meet, we've always had double points for the relay. So it encourages people to keep their good runners to the end of the meet and put in a fair team and have a. There's always double points for the relay in the league matches.
In our league matches, there aren't double points for relays.
No, us either.
Not even extra points, no. We always do double points.
No, in the Southern Athletic, what used to be the Southern Men's League is now the Southern Athletic League. It combines men and women as one scoring team. You just have standard points. It's just a basic 6 down to 6 down to.
My argument against it in our conference, because a couple people talk about it, some of our schools don't have enough kids to run the relays we have, but it becomes so sprint heavy when you have a 4x1, a 4x2, 4x4. Those same sprinters are in the 100, the 200, the long jump. It becomes. I just like a more balanced program in terms of having a 4x8 and a balance of distance, field events, running, hurdles.
Yeah.
Our guest is coming on, guys, and I got to head out to class, but I'll see you guys next Monday.
Okay, thanks, Tim.
See you, Tim. Cheers.
Cheers.
All right.
Yeah, as Malcolm mentioned in the chat, the 4x2, it should be a 2-lane or 3-lane stagger. I think you don't know who wins until the last curve, so they really should.
We do 3-turn stagger. Yeah,
3 turns fine. Like use the 4x4 exchanges, make it a 3-turn stagger.
I'm sorry. We use a 4-turn stagger here.
Yeah.
You stay in your lane the whole way.
Yeah, I don't like that because you don't know who's winning the race.
Exactly. Yeah. You mentioned, Richie, you do 4x800. Anytime up here, and even in a relay championships, we only do 3x800.
Really? Why is that?
Yeah. Well, yeah, really. I see what you did there. Really.
Yeah. But
we only do 3x800.
The problem with the 4x8 is sometimes it's not very competitive. Mm-hmm. It gets, and that's kind of tough. You get the baton, there's nobody around you. But I like it. We broke our record about 3 weeks ago, running pretty much with nobody around us. Thankfully, on the last leg of the last lap of the last leg, a team we were about to lap was ahead, so we got to run after them. But you know what else we put in our first big meet? Because we used to do a 4x2 on Friday. We did the 4x8, a 4x2 field events, 3,200. Then Saturday we'd have all the normal events, 4x1, 4x4, all the other. But I just hated that. So we did a sprint medley one time. And then I thought, we had a girl, this girl went to our main rival school, kicked our butt in most things for 4 years. You might have heard her name, Raven Rogers. And Raven ran at like 16 on the U.S. World Youth Team. And they run the Swedish Relay, 100, 200, 300, 400. You start at the 300, you start at the 200 mark. You do a 4x1 handoff. You break after the end of the relay zone and move into the rail, run the curve, a fast 4x4 handoff for the 300-meter runners, and then the 400. Everybody thinks it's crazy, and then they do it and they love it. And it's a fun relay, and you know really quickly who's ahead and who's going after. But so we put that in just kind of for fun to get some sprinters involved, and because we don't have to do the 4x2.
Yeah, that's on my list as well. Okay, back to the 4x2. Why are they using blind exchanges when the incoming runner is severely in lactic acid, slowing down, and all these missed handoffs? Because why don't they just do a visual exchange like a 4x4? I don't understand why countries still use the blind handoff 4x2. Anybody?
That's another reason I don't like it, because you do blind, if you do blind, then it's a thing of, it's just an in-between difficulty. But I think the main reason I don't have to do it because it's not in our championship. So I kind of don't worry about it. And we're like, hey, whatever happens, happens. But I would hate to have to worry about it and get it down. I'm sure we would, but.
Yeah. I know Canadian universities, we have the indoor 4x2 and 4x4. So I've been used to running 4x2 indoors, but we've seen so many disasters with the blind exchanges. But it's at that point, it's too slow for a 4x1, but too fast for 4x4. So you have to sort of decide, what works. And I don't know. I would choose.
I'll tell you, Jimson, about 20, maybe more than 20 years ago, Rice University here, not a power in most events, but Rice had some pretty good quarter milers, and I forget what place they finished, but they made NCAAs and finished in the top 6 or so. And they ran like 3:03. They did blind handoffs in the 4x4. And they let them get close and get going. You'd say it and they put it out, and they did that, so they did blind handoffs really moving forward, which I'd never seen anybody do it or try it. I'm sure somebody had, and it worked for them and they didn't mess it up. But, at that level too, pretty much what you're doing at 400 speed coming in and 400 speed going out, I guess. But
yeah, okay. One thing I noticed that was interesting was the order of the events. Now it was after the mixed relay, it was men, women's for 4x1. Then it was women, men, right? So men, women, men, women, men. The problem is that some countries had the same athletes doing a 4x1 and 4x2. Did anyone notice that?
Ecuador, that was Ecuador.
And Denmark had some too. So I don't know why they didn't do women, men, so that you at least have one event to recover. I don't understand why women have to go back to back. So unless they had a request from the federation that a lot of men were going to double, this way a man would have 2 races to recover, like men, women, men.
So throw the women under the bridge.
Yeah, I don't understand why women didn't get, why they doubled up. Like, I don't know. That was something bizarre that I noticed. I don't know if anyone has any thoughts on that. Anybody, or just you think it's just.
What about the concept that there's still, I think it was 17 minutes between the women's 4x1 and the women's 4x2. And I remember reading years ago that Walter Dix apparently, but in his warm-up, he used to do it was something crazy, like a 150. It was like a flat out 150, 20 minutes before he raced or something like that. So I wonder whether not that I think that that's why they would have put it in, but is there the argument that it could, the first event could almost be used as like a primer for the second? Because you're going from, you're not doing the 200 first, you're doing the 100 first. I don't know. I don't necessarily know that it's as detrimental to the performance as maybe it would appear.
Yeah, if they have strong special endurance for that, for 200, it shouldn't be that big a deal. But it's still odd they did that. I mean, I know why they only had 17 minutes, because they don't want, they don't want all those 37 fans to be bored and the people on TV to, but.
Yeah, reading Malcolm's comment, 20 minutes. Yeah, I know when I ran, well, it was called CIU at the time, now it's called CIS in Canada. we had our 300-meter finals, and then our 4x4 was exactly 20 minutes after. So you can just imagine running 300 meters, still a bit of lactate acid there, and then running 4x4 within literally 20 minutes. I remember doing that, and I was still breathing hard, lying in the track, trying to recover. And then the coach says, "Okay, you're running 4x4." So, yeah.
Hey,
I guess it builds character.
We've had 2 girls. This is 10 years ago. This team hadn't lost in 4 years. They hadn't lost a 4x4 except at Texas Relays, running against the best public schools, and there they got like second and third each year. And we knew coming down to it, it was going to be double relay points. We were going to be 18 points down going to the 1600. 2 of our 1600 girls were also going to be on the 4x4. There was 30 minutes from the time it began to the time the girls began. And our first one, she was going to kind of go for a record. It was like, no, you're pulling our second girl in because she's got to finish second, which she barely did. So we got 18 points there. And then I said, all we got to do is beat them in the 4x4. And one of those girls who ran the 1600 came back anchored. And this girl who ran at A&M for 3 years, the mistake she made was passing her at about 150 meters, or I sure about 350 meters. She passed her too soon. And Ann just hung right on her and powered past her in the last 60 meters because she was strong. But that's a pretty tough, she ran like a 59 split or something after running I think maybe a 5:15 or something in the 1600. So, we actually have to bank on our 800 meter, our 1600 meter runner people sometime for 4x4s because we don't have enough good sprinters.
Yeah. Speaking of that, in high school, we had the 8-2-2-4 relay. I'm not sure what that's called, sprint medley or something. It's 8-2-2-4.
That's a sprint medley.
Yeah,
we do it here. We do it 2, 2, 4, and 8. We run 200, 200, 400, 800. And then they do a baby one, usually for younger kids, but sometimes they do an 800 medley, which is 1, 1, 2, 4. That's usually middle school around here. But then, and then the distance medley, the 16, 12, the 16, 8, I'm sorry, the 12, 8, the 12, 4, 8, and 16 is the order we do in the States for that.
Yeah.
Which is kind of goofy. You got a 1200 meter guy handed a 400, but.
Yeah, I've seen that one. How do you run 3 laps? I don't know, but I think 8-2-2-4 is good because by the time the first exchange happens, it's pretty strung out. It's not like a zoo. Whereas the Swedish one, 1, 2, 3, 4, that 200 meter exchange is going to be
the 2 to 3. The 2 to 3 exchange is fun, and there's no exchange zone.
Yeah.
Because what we have there is we have the 4x1 exchange zone, and I tell them I'm always there, and I say, here's the break line for the 800 meters and the 4x4. You all get right around here somewhere, and it's a nothing event at our meet. It's like, if somebody is way past those triangles, we'll tell you don't do that again. We're not going to, because we literally don't have the actual markings for the beginning and the end. I don't want to put tape down. It's just fun. They have it and it's fun. But it's actually it's a cool relay. But yeah, that 2 to 3, they're cranking and jostling.
Yeah. Did anyone notice? I think it was the mixed relay. So it's the 4x4 mixed relay, and it was male, female, but the female was on the 20 meter end exchange zone. So the male had to run 420, and she ran like 380. I think it was Ireland did that. I think it was pretty smart. Yeah, I saw that. It was pretty smart.
Wait, so she was standing at the finish line, or she was standing past it?
It was the first exchange. It was the first, I think it was in the heat. It was the first exchange. So if you know the man's stronger than a woman, which is normal, make him run 420 and make her run 380. So I thought that was pretty smart idea.
Yeah, but I mean, where was she in respect to the end of the zone?
The end, at her very end that she's allowed to.
She was standing there and just stood there and got it and ran. She didn't take off early.
Or maybe 5 meters back. So
okay, yeah. Well, that does make some sense.
I thought that was pretty smart, actually, because we did that one time. We did that when I ran one year, and I'm a stronger runner, and we had a 60-meter guy who moved up to 200. So he wasn't the greatest 200-meter runner. And in CIAU, Canada, there's no exchange zone. It's an open exchange. You got to start from a certain line, but you can hand it off like 30 meters back. And we had our guy stand like literally 15, 20 meters away and made me run like 220. because he'd run 180. So I thought that was pretty smart. I don't know. I guess no one picked that up.
Back to the 4x200s here, and it was 4x220 when I was running this. I think some were metric, some were yard, and I ran it at a meet. We had it 2 big meets that year, and I ran the second exchange, but they didn't know to put you at the far zone. So I was at the near zone. So the guy running to me ran like 180. I ran, 240, and my time was slow. And then the next time, or I think before that, I'd gotten like an unbelievable time because I got to run much less because schools never knew where to put you. And they were giving me a hard time. I was like, well, remember this time I ran like, 19 something for it. The next time I ran 26, but you know what? That's why I hate it too. Literally, they will put the second exchange at the regular 4x1 spot instead of the stagger spot.
Yeah.
And
anyway, one more point, and I hope Mike does show up. I hope he shows up. But the order of the relay for the Dutch team for the final, would you have put their fastest person third?
so
Bol would have
4x1
been on anchor for me.
4x4.
I'd have put Bol on anchor. Yeah, I wouldn't have had Claver on last. I don't know. I'd have put Bol on anchor. To be fair, I'd have possibly had Claver on first leg. I feel like from her indoor, she started very aggressively, and I think put them under a bit of pressure early. And also, I thought it was interesting that indoors she was splitting through in like 23 flat for her 400 meters, and there was no way she was going through she went through 200 meters in 23 flat in that women's 4x4 final.
But the problem was that she was just in second place, and she was running a bit wide.
Yeah.
She was running like halfway on the shoulder of the first place, so she probably ran 403 meters.
She should have been able to pass Jessie Knight. She should have been able to pass Jessie Knight, I think. Like, she's better than Jessie Knight over 400 meters.
Who was the anchor?
Did Bol not run the anchor leg in the heat? And then they changed her for the final?
They changed it in the final.
Yeah, I wonder why they changed it. You know what I mean?
Who was it that ran the anchor for Netherlands in the final?
Claver.
Cooper. Yeah. She didn't run very well.
Well, she may have faded a little there, but I've already decided she's marrying my oldest son. I just decided that after watching her. She may have faded a little bit, Anyway.
Yeah.
That's okay. My eldest son, Rich, has decided he's marrying Visser. Hasn't told her yet, but he's decided that.
That's quite an interesting point as well. What do we think about Visser? Because she obviously collided with the Danish runner on the anchor leg, the final exchange of the women's 4x1, which very likely cost the women's 4x1 the. Right, okay, sorry, I missed that then.
That's just an unfortunate racing incident.
That actually probably slowed her up, but she was clear in her lane. I think the one inside was shoulder like over the line or something, and they said they didn't DQ him on that. I kept watching that replay. I think we're near the line.
Does anybody remember from the 2011 World Championships with Harry A.A. colliding with Darvis Patton, I think it was, and Patton went absolutely flying.
Yeah, the elbow.
She would colliding with Harry A.
Yeah.
I put
just
this
to cover up the fact they were going to
women's if you're interested.
That was prearranged.
Yeah, if you want to look at the splits for the women's, you can just see it paints a picture of the race. But yeah, I don't know. Anyway, look, we're not the coaches, right? And I'm sure there's a lot of politics involved and a lot of agents involved. But anyway, it was fun to watch. It's a shame that the Americans, and the Jamaicans, and the Bahamians and the Trinidadians weren't there. It was more of a European relays in my mind.
Yeah.
But okay, that's all I have for the relay notes. So just those are the topics. I don't know where Mike is, so I don't know what you want to do for the rest of the time, if he does show up or not. I was hoping he'd show up and talk about equipment and stadiums, but is there any other topic out there that interests you, like Andy or Rostrom? Is there anything about, relays or not relays related if you want to talk about?
What we said on, was it Saturday? We talked about it. The shuttle hurdles relay.
Oh, the shuttle. Yeah, I didn't talk. I avoided that one because it shouldn't.
I need to get to Kenya to take up the position of national hurdles coach. You see the two guys, Rich, you mean you could beat them now? Never mind in their day. They were awful. I mean, not that they weren't as good as the rest, just in their own right. Oh,
Yeah,
honestly, 20, 25 years ago,
that's what
easily
happened.
beating them both.
Yeah.
So I need to get back to Kenya to take up my new position.
He still came in third, still won a bronze medal. So
They were third out of four. I mean, come on.
Yeah, we did put the shuttle hurdle in our meet one time precisely because I got 4 girls. 3 of them were, one was great, 2 were pretty good, and 1 was not very good. But I knew we'd have fun and do it. But yeah, I'll tell you. Here's my shuttle hurdle relay story, and it goes along with a Bo Jackson story. LSU's indoor facility in 1980. Gosh, you all were there, Malcolm, with LSU. It was probably 84, and it was the first or second weekend in January, right after New Year's. And the the shuttle hurdle relay, 60 meters indoors with the men. I quit watching the race because I was watching the person at each station darting back and forth because they're blowing through every hurdle. And they were putting them back up and ducking on the ground on the back side of the hurdle. One guy had to duck on the ground on the front side of the hurdle because he couldn't get across. I mean, it was pure entertainment watching the hurdle setters. But right before or after that, not very long before or after, they did the 16-meter final. And Bo Jackson had played in the Sugar Bowl for Auburn, a week or 2 earlier, had his football weight on. It was the dawn of Lycra. He had a Lycra bodysuit, black bodysuit from his neck to his toes, and a gold chain. And he was a little bigger than me, not much. Oh wait, no, he was a lot bigger than me. Every step, it looked like he was going to explode. And he ran, I can't remember what the time was. And they said, of course, it was the first or second week in January. It was the fastest time in the world. It's still at the end of the year was one of the fastest indoor times. It was maybe the most amazing human thing I've seen from that close. I was maybe 15 feet away when he came by, just the sheer power. And I don't know, Malcolm, were you there? You all probably were there at that meeting, but he was just incredible.
Yeah, and indoors, those guys seemed a whole lot bigger. I remember it might have been the year before at Florida A&M, which is also, it's also in Tallahassee. And Jackson and Herschel Walker running in the same 100 meters there. And I mean, I was the other side of the track. I was on the back street. And I mean, it was just, how should we say? It was like watching 2 bull elephants just go, and there were just all these little stick figures around them. But
it's kind of, I didn't watch the Kentucky Derby this weekend either because we had the meet, but it's almost like I imagine you were on the dirt about 20 feet outside of where they open that gate. And then the first 50 meters of that power, it was that kind of power. I mean, just obviously the horses would have been more, but literally this was just incredible to watch.
Well, I count down until Tokyo. Let's see what happens. I think we have all the trials. Every country has their trial selection, so that's going to be interesting from now until then.
And our trials, maybe not any spectators. They've already refunded the ones that had them, and then may reopen it.
I mean, what can you do? I think you have to just separate your trials. Maybe have one stadium just for the throwers, and one stadium for the jumpers, one stadium for the runners. I mean, if you're really afraid of COVID, just split up the meet into 3 different meets. I don't know.
Yeah.
I have no idea, but anyway, we hope we'll see something.